Hello everyone, we just finished the first paragraph. In this video, we will talk a little bit about the Chinese grammar. Okay, now in the previous videos, I said that there's no grammar, there's no tense, not no grammar. There's no tense or voice in the Chinese language. I want to make a correction about that statement, okay? And what I actually want to say is that there's the tense and the voice, all these ingredients of the grammar is completely different between the Chinese language and the English language. So, and basically, honestly speaking, basically, I think every language in the world has some form of tense and some form of voice, and so the Chinese language definitely has tense and definitely has a voice, but the method to form the tense and to form the voice in the Chinese language is totally different from the English language. So basically, and the fundamental difference is that in the Chinese language there's no word inflection. Okay, in or and when you want to form a past tense, and you have a word inflection, right? But in Chinese language there's no inflection. They only add or reduce the word. Normally, and when the Chinese language you want to form a certain tense, it will add some word, add some adverb, add some time frame, and that's it. And you can say in this perspective, you can say Chinese grammar is much more easier than the English grammar. They don't need to study word inflection, okay, like past tense, present tense, or future tense, or whatever, blah blah. And there's no such things. And you just add some adverb, add some time, or add some kind of adverb to form the tense or voice. Okay, there's no word inflection. Or for example, in English language, when you want to form the passive voice, you have to add the auxiliary verb be, right? Be, was said, be said, right? Was or whatever. So, and this is the difference, okay? And I want to make a correction in the previous video. I said that there's no tense. It's not correct. Okay? It should be said that the tense or voice is totally different. Okay, now let's see the first sentence. Okay, in the first sentence, there's a one and a zi. This is a one-off, and this one-off in English normally we will put this one-off in the front, right? Put in here. Si is one of Chinese blah blah blah, right? Traditional and festival, or one of the most blah 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 traditional festival. But here in Chinese, it can be put at the end of the sentence. 之一. Okay, that's the difference between Chinese language and English language. And then this and the second language. Second sentence. This second sentence is kind of, there's no subject in this sentence. The author omitted the subject. The subject is 春节, okay? The subject is 春节, but they omitted this subject in this sentence. So whether this is, I think in English, we don't allow this kind of sentence, okay? Because there's no subject. We normally we cannot omit a subject in a sentence in English, but in Chinese it looks like okay, and I think it's okay. You omit the subject, okay, and generally indicate, okay, blah 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 is first and 俗称过年 and okay, so the second sentence basically there's no subject. That's I want to point out. Okay, and other things, and I think there's no very complicated grammar involved in these two sentences. Only one is the one of, and this and it put at the end of the sentence. Okay, it's different from English language. So, and in this video, this is a very short video. We talk about, and also I want to point out, so-called verb. And in these sentences, you can say this is the verb, right? 是, this is a verb. And the second is this is the verb. 子 and 是. These are the verbs, okay? And this one is 教. Can be called a verb, okay? But it's not so strict as the English language. You must have a subject and a verb in one sentence. You must have that one. Okay, but in Chinese language, sometimes one sentence you can without a verb, without a subject, etc. It doesn't matter. So it is a little bit hard for the English language speaker to learn Chinese. That's why, because the grammar is totally different. So you have to get used to this kind of stuff, and you have to read a lot of articles to figure out the conventions of the Chinese grammar and whether this sentence is correct or not. Okay, so and normally and in China, and people study the language, normally speaking, they will read out the sentence to see if it's fluent. Okay, how you feel. How you feel. If you feel good about this sentence, then you can say, and approximately you can feel it is correct. If you feel this sentence is not comfortable, something is not right, you can feel it. Okay, that's and the feeling when you study a language. The feeling that one particular sentence is not right, is right or not right. This feeling established by one fact is that you read a lot of language articles. You establish the feeling. Okay, if you just encounter the Chinese language, you don't have any meaning, any feeling about whether it's correct or not. You don't have that. When you read a lot of articles in Chinese, and then gradually you will establish a kind of a feeling to feel whether this sentence is correct or not. Okay, so I think this is the way, and you study Chinese. You don't need to bother grammar particularly, but when you read a lot of sentences, and you will establish a kind of sense about the Chinese language grammar. And this is what I want to say. There's another thing, and in this paragraph is that there's a word, a particle. There's a particle de, and this de, I said in the previous video, you can omit it. For example, here 最有特色最富有特色。最富有特色的传出的 in this place, this you cannot this cannot be omitted. If you omit this and then something wrong in this sentence. 最富有传统节，最富有特色传统。It's not very fluent. You can say if you omit this sentence becomes not very fluent. Not very smooth, okay. So we should put it. But some and then the second this one, this 是农历年的 第一天，农历年的第一天，农历年 if you omit this 的农历年第一天 it's sort of okay. If you omit this 的 and it becomes 是农历年又叫阴历第一天 it is okay. Although and if you put a 的 here, the sentence become much smoother, okay, much more comfortable when you read it. So here the 的 is kind of you can omittable, you can omit it. So that's the difference between this 的 here and this 的 here. This difference is the kind of degree, okay? I should emphasize this is the kind of degree. For this 的 probably you cannot omit it. But for this 的 if you omitted it, it looks like it sounds like okay. So and but it's better here also put a 的. This kind of degree, there's a difference, okay? So this is, I want to, and you will encounter this particle in Chinese a lot, okay? And normally speaking, and you should know, gradually you will know where you put this 的 is more suitable, and where you can omit this 的. And some people write a sentence and use this 的 too much, and some people and don't use this 的at all. So and this is a kind of degree. And I think in ancient Chinese there's no 的. I remember, but I'm not sure now. I just say, okay, I'm not sure, completely 100% sure. In ancient Chinese, this 的 looks like it does not exist, okay? And this 的 maybe and it's imported from overseas, okay, from English or other languages such as Latin or whatever, And this is my guess, okay? It's I just say it, okay? And maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I just say maybe I'm wrong, but maybe this 的 is imported. Only and modern Chinese language has this 的, okay? In ancient Chinese, and it's a lot shorter. When you read the ancient Chinese and language, one sentence, the sentence is much shorter than the modern one, okay? And because why it's much shorter? Because they don't have all those particles, okay? They don't have all these particles, so the sentence is very short, okay? But the meaning is very rich by a very short sentence. So and it also causes a problem. The meaning is very vague sometimes, right? If you write a sentence very short, and it can mean a lot of meaning. A lot of meaning. So, and you're not sure which which meaning it means. Okay, so that's the grammar of this paragraph, and I wanted to point out. And normally, when I do video, sometimes and when we finish one paragraph, and I may talk about some grammar a little bit. And to let people have a certain feel about the Chinese language grammar, and it's not important, very important. I just mentioned it, okay? And this is a very short video, and I just stop here. See you next time. Thank you.